Welcome, everyone. This is Breaking Through the BS. I'm Bray, your host and owner of Yosemite's Golden Photography. In this podcast, the space will have no limits, just real conversations with people from all walks of life. It's all about perspective on here, hearing different sides, different experiences, and understanding what shapes how people think and live. All right, let's get into it. Okay, well, my name is Bray. I am the owner of Yosemite's Golden Photography, and we are starting off this podcast with my best friend, who is also my dietitian, and occasionally my workout partner, and my humbler, and my motivator. This is Alex.
I wear many hats. Hello.
So just kind of describe a little bit of like who you are, your background, who you work for, and explain a little bit of like who you work for and what they do, because it's out there and it's such a great tool, and I feel like a lot of people don't know about them. So I think this is a great opportunity to kind of elaborate on who they are too, so we can get them out there.
Okay, well, hello. My name is Alex. I am a registered dietitian, and I've been one for about 8 years now. I work for a company called Working Against Gravity. They're an online nutrition company, and I think they're absolutely amazing, and I'm not just biased. I started working for them with them as a client probably 10 years ago at this point. I was looking to improve how I performed in the gym, how I felt in my body. I wanted to actually look like I worked out. I mean, I looked okay, but I definitely felt like I could improve some things. And so I found Working Against Gravity, and it essentially changed my life and my view on nutrition. And I thought, this is a company that I want to work for. And I applied and I became a coach, and I've been doing the thing since then.
Awesome. And you have a coach yourself still till this day, even as a registered dietitian.
Yeah, I still have a coach to this day. It's not my original coach. She left the company, but I've only had 2 coaches within the company. And yeah, so I firmly believe that coaches need coaches too. And even though I know I've coached actually thousands and thousands of clients. I know the ins and outs of nutrition. I have a degree myself, obviously, but I still want somebody to take the wheel and to remove a lot of the emotion out of it, and essentially just tell me what to do.
Right.
And not necessarily feel as if, I just want somebody to tell me what to do, and then that way I can just execute.
Right.
And not worry about, is this the right thing I'm supposed to be doing or the wrong thing, or, oh no, I don't want to cut my calories, or no, that's way too much food. If somebody tells me to do it, I'll do it.
Right. Yeah. It puts you out of the driver's seat and just kind of be a little bit on autopilot and lean on someone else with that kind of responsibility.
100%.
Because we set ourselves, when we do this ourselves, we set a standard, and we get frustrated if we don't meet that standard. So by being able to like, you know what, here, you take care of it. Tell me what to do, looking at it from the outside. How can I approach this? And this is what I've done in the past. And it also allows you to see just a different perspective from someone else, right? Because like we might have all the knowledge here on our phone. It's such an accessible tool, but none of us are the same. Mm-hmm. And I think that's one of the topics I'd like to talk about today is how nutrition is not a copy paste. It's not a template that you could buy online and download and like, this will work for you. We're all so different. And because now we're in an era where we're all trying to improve our wellness, we're trying to live longer, healthier lives. We're reading the labels on the back of these products. This is like the time where we shouldn't make it as complicated as it may seem to be when you hop online, Instagram or TikTok or YouTube, or you go online and read blogs, or you start following influencers that maybe have had their own experience and they think like, oh, this is such a quick and easy tool for me to make money off of it. Let me share it. And all it really requires is learning more about the foundation of how all this is, eating your whole foods, learning what foods actually work with your digestive system, implementing very basic workouts, going for a walk, starting jogging, eating enough protein, drinking enough hydration, having enough fiber. Like these are all I think is the foundation of a really good relationship that will last you a very long time, where now we're seeing there's a lot of shortcuts and very quick results. We live in a pace and in a state where high demand, high results, we want everything so quickly. And this is one of those things like, why are we fast tracking results where it's not even going to be sustainable? It's not going to be healthy. It's going to lead with even more problems. It's all for vanity.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah, definitely. And I agree with all that you said. We live in a microwave world and we want things in an instant. Same thing with our results in nutrition or in exercise. We want it to have happened yesterday. Like we just lack a lot of patience. And then what you said about the whole template idea where we think one size fits all, that's not the case. I've even tried templates myself before I found Working Against Gravity and the whole aspect of individualized nutrition. I tried templates and it didn't work out for me. It just didn't make sense to my lifestyle, or it didn't account for just the variation and like I guess the nuances of somebody, like their individualized, like what they do for their job, their age, if they're on any supplements or medications specifically, like their background, their genetics, all these different types of things that influences nutrition. And you can't just do like a one size fit all or 1 calorie prescription and you think this is going to work for you. There does have to be a bit of guidance and tweaking and a little trial and error at first until you find what essentially works for you. And yes, that process does take a while. It's not something that you can just like, I get the ingredients and then tomorrow you're getting results. It's no, we have to like try things out for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, see what's happening and then make some adjustments from there. So it's really thinking about nutrition as a marathon and it's not necessarily a sprint. Like you have to really it has to take time.
Right. And that's the problem that people don't have is they don't have the time to learn the foundation for something that's going to last so long. So why not just take a shortcut and find a quick solution where now we're 5 years later, now we're having pancreatic issues or we're having digestive issues or we can't reproduce. We're having hormonal issues. Like, what is the root of all of this? It's all environmental, but also our foundation and understanding on wellness. And I feel like this was intentionally done to create so much confusion and making it so hard because of money, like big pharma. Like I genuinely believe that. I mean, I'm on GLP-1, so I can't say like big pharma, fuck them, fuck that, because I'm on a medication myself.
Yeah.
But I have also established a foundation. I came from a background where I'm first generation, low income. I did not have access to all the high quality foods, but keep in mind that during that time, we also weren't making genetically modified foods.
Yeah, GMOs.
GMOs. So we weren't exposed to those things. That happened maybe like after, I want to say like 2010, 11,
it's
12.
more prominent in that era. I'm sure there was probably like a smaller amount like in the 90s, but I do think
skyrocketed.
it's a little bit more prominent in probably, I mean, don't fact check. I'm like, you'll probably have to fact check me, but like, it's probably just because the world became more fast paced and we were looking for
accessibility, fast,
things that you can get on
convenience.
Exactly. And so I think that's what really skyrocketed some of that GMOs or ultra processed foods. I think that's more or less what you were talking about is like those ultra processed foods that aren't necessarily real food.
Right. Yeah.
It's food, but it's not necessarily real food that's full of nutrients.
And what that does, it creates, you think that that's healthy. I'm like, I'm eating all my food that's on my plate, but are we really looking at all the food that's on the plate? Like one of the things I remember early on when we started working together was you don't have to eat all the food that's on your plate. And that is something that was like engraved as a little kid, eat all the food. And it's, it's just a lifestyle because low income, you eat all the food that's on your plate, nothing goes to waste. But also I didn't think we got all the nutrients we needed to build this bacteria in our stomach to allow us to produce enough protein, I think that's why I haven't grown very much. Is because I didn't have all my.
You're stunted growth.
I'm on a stunted growth. So I'm blaming it on that. I should have brought my tinfoil hat.
You're going to start growing with all this
vegetables.
Yeah.
I have grown this much.
Okay.
Very little.
Very small.
I could see above the fridge a little bit of the second shelf.
When he said that the other day, I was like, you mean on the top of the fridge?
Could you imagine? No. I could see like the top of the fridge a little bit more.
No, I meant you meant
inside.
The shelves.
Yeah, the shelves.
The shelves. I know.
Could you imagine?
Got it.
Be over for everyone if I got taller.
Yesterday. I'm just not
like now getting it. I literally had him come out and measure me just to make sure. I'm like, I swear, I feel like I did grow. He's like, no, do we need to mark it on the wall so we can see?
Yeah,
Like, I guess
you
so.
probably should.
Get the dogs in there too, see if they're growing.
They're probably
Um,
shrinking.
we are, as we age, we do shrink, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Our noses get bigger, our ears get bigger, and our bodies get smaller,
Mm-hmm.
becoming petite. But yeah, so going back to the food, like foundation of food, like it's, you think you know it, but you really get humbled as you try to progress in life on your own wellness. You're exercising more, you're doing all these things, and you think you're eating right, you think you're fueling yourself right, and you just come to find out that it's like, what the fuck was I doing?
It's just, you probably just didn't know.
I didn't know.
And that's the thing, is like,
Mhm.
even I didn't know back when I was a kid into high school, into college. I didn't know that stuff. I grew up in a world where I was enjoying kids cuisines like spaghettios and like a ton of casseroles, and like that I thought was like food.
Yeah.
And it's not until you actually learn what food is,
Right.
then it opens like new doors, it opens your eyes, it essentially just establishes a better foundation
It
of
does.
what nutrition is. But I just always think, or always tell my clients, especially when they're coming to me and they're like, I had no idea like this was how I was supposed to eat. I've been doing it wrong all this time. And I'm just saying, you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
And once you start learning, then it's just creating a little bit more awareness. Now you're understanding things. Now you know what your body actually needs. And I, like, when I came to working against gravity, I had a solid like foundation of nutrition. I was eating, I'd say pretty much whole foods, but I was eating the wrong proportions for what I was needing. And so that circles back to, yes, you do need a solid foundation of um, whole-based nutrition, like whole-based food nutrition, but you can't just rely on that alone.
Right.
Like, you need to make sure you're paying attention to protein. You need to make sure you're paying attention to the amounts of fat that you're eating, the amounts of carbohydrate, and all of that is really individualized to what kind of activity that you're doing, your specific goals, where you're at in life. Like, are you in your 20s, in your 30s, in your 40s? Like, all of that will vary
Mhm.
based off of where you're at. So just because something worked for you in your 20s doesn't mean it's going to work for you in your 30s, and so on and so forth. And even circling back to what you were saying, that people are just um trying to grab these shortcuts, and like, what is the newest thing, what is this and what is that. It's just because that is what's being like pushed out there. And when people try to say, well, what about this new way of eating, or this new way of eating, or this new way of eating, I'm like, yes, you can try that, but what's going to happen is, like, in 2, 3, 4 years after you trying all these little specialized diets, you're still going to be in the same place, and you're still going to be searching for that one thing. Whereas if you just spent that time and that effort,
I honed in on it.
the basics, doing the boring stuff, you would have progressed so
Mhm.
much.
Mhm.
But things is, people don't want to do what's boring.
Right. It's too hard.
Yeah.
It's too hard, even though it's so simple.
Yeah.
Oh, I before I started working with you, I worked with a different nutritionist, and I learned quite a bit from her. She gave me exposure on how much I should be eating.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started working with you, and then I learned what I should be eating, how much of that I should be eating. And it is overwhelming in the beginning because you are focusing on these numbers and you're balancing those numbers. Certain amount of carbs, certain amount of protein, certain amount of fat. Now I have to pay attention to my water intake. Now I have to pay attention to my fiber. But all of these things play such an important role so our body can just function at a minimum.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We want to make sure that we're eating enough protein. We need that for muscle. We need muscle for protection. We need muscle as an insurance policy for our own body.
Yeah.
If you have no muscle, you break a leg, or you have some form of injury or some form of illness, you're allowing that to just continue deteriorating. So if you can create more of a protection barrier on your body by muscle,
Mm-hmm.
and supporting it with certain supplements, but also your fiber intake and your carbs and your fat, it all just comes together. Our bodies are very, very resilient. And I think because we have accepted it being a complicated or complex topic, that you have to talk to a medical professional about it. And you don't. You literally just need to understand how your body functions, what are the essentials that it needs, food, water, the movements that it needs. Everyone's so different, but our bodies are very, very resilient.
Oh, yeah.
We have people that have had cancer, and they have turned their life around by eating clean, working out, staying hydrated, doing like the boring stuff, and it allowed them to turn their life around. And that's what they've stayed consistently through. And this cancer is deteriorating because it's no longer a parasite. Right. So I'm not saying that like, oh, once you start eating clean, you're going to be cancer free or whatever. But it's just like, start with that. And I think
Things make a difference.
it does make a big difference.
Like the genes and different metabolic processes. Like if you're giving it an environment, like say if you're eating a whole like an ultra processed diet and you had like the preconditions for certain things, it'll show up. So like if you had the preconditions for diabetes, like as like a genetic component or high cholesterol or heart disease, if you give it the right environment by not eating well, not exercising, it will show up.
Yes.
But you can also prevent that by what you're eating, how you're moving, so that thing never really shows up, even if you've had a medical like history or family, more like history type of thing. But I wanted to kind of expand on what you mentioned with muscle, like how important that like eating protein is for muscle mass. Not only is it going to help you with preventing like breaking a bone if you do fall, but it also acts as an insurance policy for your metabolism. Like when you have more muscle on your body, you generally burn more calories. Your body is more metabolically efficient, and so it doesn't necessarily, like, I guess you can store fat, but in the long run, I do believe there's research. I'm not gonna like say with specific research because that's not my knowledge base, but like there is research supporting that when you have more muscle, you have better metabolic responses as you're aging, and that makes a huge difference for some of these really big illnesses, diseases that are really prevalent
as you start aging.
once you start aging. Like, so if you had that muscle as a protective mechanism starting like in your 20s, your 30s, even developing it into your 40s, then when you get to your 50s, 60s, 70s, you can hopefully prevent some of those metabolic things that tend to happen. Like diabetes, there's something called metabolic syndrome, like a lot of these different things. If you had muscle and just had a well-balanced diet, then you could probably prevent a lot of that.
Yeah, preventative.
Yeah.
That's what it is. And it's such an easy and accessible and affordable preventative.
Yeah.
That I think people don't realize, they immediately jump into some form of a medication or a treatment plan or whatever, which it's not to like lessen it. It's just, it's like taking supplements, right? It's like if you already have a good foundation on your nutrition and you add supplements on there, you're boosting that support system. But if you have nothing and you take the supplements, you're not helping yourself at all. You're wasting money, but you're also, this product is not going to support you in what you think it is.
Yeah.
So you need all of that.
Definitely. And that was actually one reason why I wanted to go into nutrition, was for the preventative aspect of it. I thought I was going to go to school to become a pharmacist, to provide a bunch of medication and drugs and help people in that way. But I realized that wasn't the route I wanted to take to help people. I thought, well, why do we have to get to a point and then I give you a medication to feel better? Why can't I teach you how to feel better way before any of those things actually show up or develop? So yeah, that was why I started, like why I switched and focused on, well, not why, but one of the
reasons. Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. See, I never saw it from that perspective. I mean, I knew you wanted to go to pharmacy school because you like to count pills, but
no, I don't like to do that. I went and got like a prescription when I was in college for some reason, and I looked behind the counter because I was actually in school like my first year on the pharmacy track. And I looked behind the counter and everyone looked miserable. And I was like, that's not the life for me.
I can confirm that. My stepdad's a pharmacist and he's just a grouchy old man.
Tuesday. And then you just like deal with people that are just not.
They're not happy.
They're not happy.
No.
They just want their medication and they don't understand why they can't get it right now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, just slap a label on it. Well, have you heard of insurance and processing through that insurance? It's like not. Yeah, that's interesting. I don't blame you. So you dodged a good one right there.
I dodged a good one right there.
I could not imagine. Okay. So GLP-1, I have been on it since September, But before I even started it, I was already working with you for about 3 years.
Yeah.
Was it 3 years?
Maybe, yeah.
And,
On and off,
and we've done calorie deficits. We've done, what have I done?
So like when you came to me, we really had to establish a better foundation of food because like we talked about before, you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
And so we were establishing like what your body needed, what was protein, what were carbs, fats, things like that, how those work together, really establishing that, like getting you into a solid place. We did try a few calorie deficits and you learned a lot about like what that actually means, what that feels like,
Mhm.
you know, and what to expect from that. We've tried, so yeah, we did a number of different things, and it did come to a point where it was like, well, what am I doing wrong? Why isn't my body necessarily changing?
Right.
And it wasn't that you were doing anything wrong. I think it was just more or less your body needed like a boost.
Yeah.
And that is like my opinion with GLP-1s. When they first came on the market, I thought, oh, I don't necessarily like these. Like it just feels like, okay, it's the next.
I did too. I thought it was like you're cheating.
No,
You're
yeah,
just finding
like
an easy way out.
or like it's the next fat burner, or it's the next, what is it called? Phentermine. Like I think that's like one of the like fat loss medications. I just thought it was like one of those where people try it, they don't necessarily see significant results. But it wasn't until I learned the mechanisms of what GLP-1s actually do, and what they do is they act on the hunger hormones. So it increases leptin, which I believe that's what you feel full. That's the fullness feeling, and it decreases. I'm gonna butcher this name, and I should probably know how to say stuff. But Grenlin. It almost sounds like Gremlins.
Yeah, the goblin.
Every time I read it, it's
The goblin.
Gremlins. But that's the hormone that tells you that you're hungry. So it decreases that. So it helps your body like start to signal the right things. Like we want to feel full at certain times. We want to feel hungry at certain times. But the GLP-1s help kind of give you that boost if you don't necessarily aren't in tune with those hunger fullness. Like they've been so muted for so long, you just eat to like for whatever.
Yeah.
Like you know, some people do, they eat to eat. And so that's one thing that it does. It also helps regulate some other hormones in the body, like the blood sugar and insulin, and how those two interact together. And that does make a huge or plays a huge role in fat loss or weight maintenance or things like that. And so once I learned what they actually do and how it can help certain populations, I was all on board. I was Switzerland. I was neutral. Like,
Right.
So some people I think would really benefit from it, and some people I don't think they can. Like it, or it's not needed.
It's not needed.
It's like, okay, we just need to kind of get our stuff together and dial things in a little bit more, and
be a little
you'll
bit
see
more
the
disciplined
results that you want, and you don't necessarily need to utilize this shot,
Right.
or the medication, I should say. But there are certain populations that do, and once they're on it, their hormones start shifting in the ways that it needs to, that it finally can, after many years probably of ultra processed foods or maybe not the right nutrition.
Genetics play a role
genetics
into
as
it too.
Yeah. And so it can really move the needle for those populations. And I think that's where, like, you came to me probably August or something, and I remember you were really nervous to like
so
ask
nervous.
me.
Yeah.
Like you came over just really randomly, and I was like, okay, you can come over. And then you asked me, you're like, I have something to tell you. I was like, okay. You're like, I want to get on the GLP-1 shot, or like you might have had like a consult or something. I was like, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
And I think I surprised you so much that was my interaction. I was like,
it was such an emotional moment for me, because I felt like I was taking so many steps back after all this hard work, and I'm using a way to like cut a corner or whatever. And you were just like, okay, let's do it.
Yeah.
But you have to work with me while we go through this, without a doubt.
Because
like,
my
without a
first
doubt.
thought was like, I'm going to use this. And I was like, does that mean you're not working with me anymore?
Oh,
You're
no,
like,
bitch,
"No."
I will till I die.
'Cause some people think, okay, I'm going to get on this medication and I don't need to necessarily focus on that other stuff, which is the stuff that we're doing, or like worry about that, because the medication is going to be doing the heavy lifting.
Right.
I'm like, no. Like that's where if clients come to me, or I have clients and they think that the medication is going to be what they need, and
Right.
they diss me, or like they ghost me. I'm like, no, that's not really what it should be
No.
doing. You should continue to do all the heavy hitting,
Right.
like the heavy lifting, things like that, not just figuratively, but like literally,
The
or not literally,
foundation.
but figuratively, however you say that. But
The repeat.
but like the medication is just there to act as more of like a supplement, like a little aid, like a little boost. And I have a lot of clients that come to me, or that are my clients now, that were in the same boat as you were, where they were like, I think I want to get on this medication. Like it feels like I'm cheating, or I'm not doing the right thing. And I do try to flip the script and put it into perspective that it's not cheating, as long as you're continuing to like do the stuff that you need to do. Because then what it's going to, like, if you're continuing to do all the heavy lifting, in terms of you have a really solid foundation of food, you're continuing to monitor your intake in some way, not necessarily you have to track macros, but you have some systems in place, and you're continuing to lift weights, continuing to hydrate, to sleep. All of those things are going to carry you through, or like be with you throughout the duration of the medication. So once you take the medication out, you carry on those really healthy lifestyles, and that's what's going to help you maintain weight. Whereas if people just think, I'm on this medication, it's going to do everything for me, and as soon as they stop, they didn't change anything in terms of how they're sleeping, how they're moving, how they're eating. Well, that medication was doing all the work for you, and now when you take it away, it's just that then was going to stay.
Because you didn't establish all these other little things that help all of this come together.
Yeah.
I've done the most recent one that I got was, because I like to go on my Instagram and just blow this shit up. I'm like, this is the problem with GLP-1s. And I'm someone that is on it, but the problem is people are not eating. You're not getting the supplements. Or one that I saw was like, I had to go up in dosage because I wasn't seeing results quick enough. It wasn't working for me. And in my head, I'm thinking like, you had to jump up that quickly. It's two things. One, the company you're going through is trying to make money off of you, because the more that you increase it, it's much more expensive. Two, you are not giving your body the nutrients or the support that it needs in order for it to keep doing the other things that it needs to do.
Absolutely.
Rapid weight loss is not natural. It's not healthy. It's not sustainable. And it's so dangerous.
Exactly. Because rapid weight loss is not real fat loss.
No.
Fat loss takes a long time. As much as we hate to say it, it takes a long time. Rapid weight loss is you're losing water. You're probably losing muscle tissue, because muscle is metabolically expensive. And if your body's seeing, oh, I'm not getting enough intake, like calories, I got to get rid of this stuff that's going to cost me a lot of like energy and that's your muscle. So that's going to go, and then it's probably going to shift some other things. It maybe can reduce your bone density, all these different things to keep you alive, because your body's really smart. It's going to keep you alive. It's like you said, it's really resilient. It's going to try to keep you alive with however you're going, like whatever you're doing out there, it's going to like let go of a lot of things. And sometimes it's not going to let go of fat, because fat is
isn't it like a safety blanket for your body, like a storing mechanism?
You can think of it as like a safety mechanism, as in fat stores a lot of calories, so a lot of energy, and if your body isn't getting the energy it needs coming in, it's going to store the fat for that rainy day. Like, oh, we're not getting enough calories today, so we've got to like utilize this fat in case we're not going to get any calories. So it's just going to hold on to that. And so, you know, what you were saying of like how people quickly get like their doses increase really quick. And that's truly because they're trying to make it a fast process.
Vanity.
Like it could be vanity, or they're just impatient, or they're thinking, oh, I'm on this shot, I should see a 5-pound weight loss this week. I'm like, no, that's not how it works. You're not going to lose 5 pounds of fat in 1 week.
No,
never.
You're losing something else that's really important.
So, I even remember like your maybe first month, you said that the doctor, right, like, or the AI system or the doctor was recommending, like, oh, you should probably increase your dose.
Yes.
And you asked me, and I was like, you've been on it for 2 weeks. Like,
Yep.
you're not going to see any.
No.
Why are you wanting to increase it this quickly? And I was
Yeah.
like, what they're doing is exactly what you said. Either they're trying to increase it because, like, that's kind of their goal,
Money.
like, or they're just seeing that there's no fat loss or no significant,
The scale. They're looking at the
yeah,
number on the
the
scale.
and it's not necessarily changing at rates that they think is acceptable. So they're like, well, let's bump it up to get to those
Their
rates.
statistics or data.
And I'm like, no, we don't need to do that. Even in my practice with anyone that's not on a GLP-1, I don't necessarily make a change to their nutrition after 1 week of no progress.
Right.
I wait 2-3 weeks. So sometimes my females 4 weeks
Mhm.
because hormones change, things change, that to really indicate of, okay, you're consistent.
Mhm.
There's nothing happening. We need to make some changes here. Whereas, and that should be the same approach with GLP medications.
Mhm.
That you want to keep the same mindset that I'm just using this as an aid. It's not necessarily going to be the solution. So I need to still be patient. I still need to treat this as a marathon,
Mm.
not a sprint. So that way my body is also changing.
Yeah, it's regulating
Yeah.
itself. That's what I noticed very interestingly being on this medication, staying on the lowest dose is I am learning what is a new norm for my body. Was it 3 months ago? My period started changing. So I had really bad cramps. My flow was lighter. Then the following month, my cramps weren't as bad, but my flow was very heavy. But this month, it was very minimal cramping. I had a heavy day 1, a medium day 2, and then a lower day 3, and then it just kind of fizzled away. It's just your body is learning to acclimate to this new environment.
Yeah.
Because I've always walked around with a lot of body fat, so my body was retaining all of these symptoms or like this behavior. Like it was so normal for it that now that it's a complete new home, it's figuring itself out, but it's regulating itself. This is how we know because we're tracking all these things more than just the number on the scale.
Oh, for sure. And that's the same process whether you're on a GLP-1 or not. Like, you want to make sure you're taking it slow and gradual. Like,
Safe.
slow fat loss is still fat loss. However you want to spin it, it's still fat loss. And that just allows your body to adapt to the new normal, because if you do it really quickly, your body's just going to like bounce right back,
Right.
because it's like, this
It's a
is
fight or flight.
this
Fight
is
or
where
flight.
even that, but it's just like, this was homeostasis and we really like that, and we didn't necessarily change the homeostasis means like where everything just remains like the same, like it's kind of like your new normal.
Mhm.
And so if you don't necessarily like allow your body to get to that new normal, it's just going to go right back to where it was like most comfortable. Um so yeah, I think that with the GLP-1s, like, you need to was first start with a solid foundation. I mean, that should be the number one, but I wouldn't say it's necessarily like the only reason like you should start GLP-1. But if you are just starting it and you don't have a foundation, then you need to work with a dietitian.
Yes,
You
you
need to
do.
work with a dietitian.
Period.
Period.
Because it's so dangerous.
Yeah,
It does a lot more harm in the end. Like, yes, you're going to look great because you're so skinny, but are you getting the nutrients you need?
probably not. Like, yeah, you wouldn't know if unless you were working with a dietitian. Like, you wouldn't know if you're getting enough protein and you're getting
And
enough carbohydrates.
just to kind of explain, like,
Macros.
what is a dietitian versus a nutritionist? Because I know the differences, but when I explain it to people, like, I had no idea. I'm like, I have a lot more respect for dietitians. I could be a nutritionist right now if I wanted to. I'll go online and take an online course, and I'm a nutritionist. But what the fuck do I know? I didn't go to schooling. I don't have a degree. I didn't go have to do hours of work. I don't have to keep up with the license. So,
Okay, so you just pretty much answered it yourself. So
but it's coming from the source.
the difference between a nutritionist and a nutritionist, anybody can call themselves a nutritionist with a certification, and you can get a certification online, maybe through a reputable source, but you can call yourself a nutritionist. I think some people go out there and they have an interest in nutrition and they call themselves a nutritionist. Whereas a dietitian, you have to, when I was at least going through school, you had to have a 4-year bachelorette degree in nutrition or some kind of similar specialty. Then you had to do a internship, which I think at the time was like 1,500 hours of interning.
Yeah.
And that's where we like we'll do a rotation in clinical. So we're in a hospital setting. We do a rotation in the food service. So we're working with the foods and learning different diets. And then there's like some other things like we do different specialties, but essentially we're just shadowing, learning under a dietitian that's already established, and kind of just like learning the ins and outs of um, proper nutrition in the real world. But it's a 1,500-hour internship. A lot of times that's unpaid. So it's like you have to either like
volunteer.
Yeah, you're like volunteering your free time. A lot of times people are obviously don't have jobs, or they have second jobs, and they're really just burning the ends at both, or burning the candle at both ends. And so, yeah, you have to do that. Then you have to sit for I think board certified exam. And that is like, it's no joke. Like it requires a lot of studying. You go in, it has to be like a what is it?
Proctored. Okay.
You remember like
I think so. I'm thinking like it's almost like getting a law degree, like a bar, going and doing the bar exam.
Probably like I wouldn't say it's like similar, but
it's the same. I'm saying it. No,
it's not the same. But you do have to sit for an exam and you have to pass it, and then you can call yourself a registered dietitian. But I think now you do have to have maybe like a master's degree. When I was going through my internship, I did have to take some master level courses. But I already had a master's, so I didn't necessarily finish my master's in exercise or finish my master's in nutrition. But anyway, so I think now you have to have a master's degree. So you have to have 8 years of school, or 6 to 8 years of schooling, and then do your internship, then sit for the exam, pass it. Then from there, like you have to do continuing education. Like we have like so like either like 2 or 5 year periods where we have to accumulate certain hours to make sure that we're just staying on top of the latest like nutrition things, and we're constantly learning and growing, and so that we don't get stagnant.
Right.
And we're
It's
not
such an easy
practicing-
thing, right?
practicing like old school
Right.
stuff.
So you have your master's degree too in
Exercise science.
exercise science.
Yeah. So I went to school to get my bachelor's in nutrition. And during that period of 4 years, I was like, I really don't want to do clinical nutrition or clinical dietetics, because that's really what the professors were pushing. Was like, when you become a dietitian, you work in a hospital or some kind of clinical setting.
Yeah.
And that wasn't the life for me. And so I thought, well, I'm not going to do that. So let me pivot and go and get my master's in exercise science, because I was really interested in fitness and was in the gym a lot. So I was like, I kind of like this stuff. So I went and got my master's in exercise science. And then what that got me was I was a personal trainer, and I would wake up at 3 a.m. to train my 5 a.m. clients, and like, do that for a few hours, and then have a big break in the middle of the day, and then come back in the evening and train my clients. I was like, this is not the life for me. I do not like waking up at that hour. I don't like having this big split in my day and then working in the evenings, and then I like my sleep. So I was like, this is not for me. But one thing I always did when I was training clients is I talked about nutrition. I'd ask, what do you eat for breakfast? Or what do you eat for lunch? Like, if somebody was having a really like tough workout, I'm like, well, when's the last time you ate? And so I was always like
curious and asking.
Asking nutrition, giving tips. I was like, okay, I really like nutrition. I know this is like really my passion. So let me go back to school. I think that was like almost 5 years later. Yeah, almost 5 years later, I was almost out of the window to actually like go into RD's like school. I'm going to call it RD's school, but go and like seek out my internship. So I was almost like at the cutoff. I think I had like 2 months before I had to like go back and like take a bunch of courses to like catch me up to speed. So it was like 5 years after my master's degree, or maybe it was 5 years after my bachelor. Anyways. And I was like, no, I'll go back to school. I went back, filled out this like long, big package to like then be accepted into an internship. And yeah, went and did my internship while I was still working. I was working for Working Against Gravity actually at the
Oh,
time.
wow.
Yeah. So at the time I had my degree and I wasn't yet a registered dietitian. I just was really passionate in nutrition. I wanted to start coaching people. I was trying to make that shift
Mhm.
away from exercise, like training, into nutrition. And so I had the job.
Mhm.
And then I got accepted into becoming like an RD and into the internship. And so I dropped down to part time, but I was able to at least work, like, because I can make my own schedule. So I was able to work while I was going through my internship. So I wasn't just like a poor person the entire
The
time.
poor time. Yeah,
I
it's
wasn't just
brutal.
eating ramen
Yeah.
and learning about nutrition. Like, and I'm not talking about your ramen bowls. I'm talking about
Oh, yeah, no, the packets. Yeah, I remember,
packets
yeah.
of ramen. Yes, that kind of ramen.
Not,
Not, not the nice,
the
like,
nice ramens we eat nowadays. Bougie
exactly.
bitch.
So yeah, so that was kind of like my, like, yes, I have a degree, my master's in
Yeah.
exercise science.
You
but
know your shit is what
I
I'm trying to
do.
prove here. You know
Yes.
your shit.
So long story long, I do know a lot. I've been in this industry, whether it's nutrition or exercise or the combination
Yeah.
of both, since, I mean, I went to college. I was starting my nutrition degree in 2010. So I went to college in 2009, but I was doing pharmacy. But then I switched in 2010. So since 2010, I've been in this realm.
Yeah.
So 16 years. I've coached a lot of clients of different backgrounds.
Mhm.
And one thing that I really like pride myself in is that I can work with
You
anybody.
can.
Like, nobody necessarily like scares me or doesn't necessarily like doesn't seem like a big puzzle to me.
Mhm.
I understand what the needs are for athletes. I understand the needs for aging women, that are going through perimenopause and menopause. I understand teen nutrition. I understand just basic nutrition. I just kind of meet you where you're at, see
Mhm.
what you need, and then we grow from there.
Right.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
Establish a game plan. I mean, my husband has worked with you. I have worked with you. I have a handful of my clients that have worked with you. You got people here at the gym where everyone's got very different backgrounds and lifestyles and goals. And I think that is such a flex because you have been exposed to different elements. And that is such a unique quality that I think is very rare to find because there's not a lot of people that are able to expand themselves in that environment where when someone finds a niche, they stick with that niche. And that could be I only work with women or I only work with men or I only work with this age group because that's what they're comfortable with, that's what they're familiar, that's what they know.
Mhm.
Or I only work with moms. It's like, well, yes, because you understand that environment and you understand that lifestyle and the impacts that has had on the body and whatnot. Where you have worked with moms, dads, like Olympians. You have worked with Olympians. You have worked with CrossFitters.
Yeah.
Like, bitch, brag about that. Like, that's such a
The thing is, I just see people as people. Like,
Yeah.
I don't necessarily like fit you into a category of, oh, you're this person's a mom, or this person's an Olympian, or
Yeah.
this person is just someone's grandma.
Yeah.
Like, you're just a person to me, still an important person, and your nutrition. It just goes back to our first conversation that the foundations are the foundations, like the basics are the basics for a reason. We
Mhm.
all need it.
We all
So
need it.
whether you're an Olympian, whether you're a grandma that's like 67 years old or somewhere in between, we still need to dial in those basics.
Yeah.
I just know that certain populations might need something a little bit
Right.
different, and that's where individualized nutrition comes in.
Mhm.
And that's where I understand what you need as a person, what your goals are, what are you doing, and then we adapt those basics to meet your specific needs.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, the nutrition timing, the certain supplements, the certain protein, carbs, and fats,
Mhm.
they're still the same thing as like the other person still needs those same,
Right.
not necessarily the same things exactly, but somebody still needs protein, carbs, and fats.
Right.
They still need specific nutrition time.
The amounts just look different on everyone.
Or
That's the
like,
thing.
yeah, the timing of the day, or things like that, that all just slightly looks different.
Right. It's
So-
just been overly complicated intentionally. I think the easier you can to confuse the general population, the easier it is to, and this is my tinfoil hat, just to manipulate or easily to panic or easily to control or whatever. So the more that you are able to have someone like you that can educate them, but also hold their hand and train them, establish these routines, because at some point they're going to feel comfortable enough. Or like, you know what, I think I have this.
Yeah.
Let me try it on my own for a minute. And if not, they just come right back.
Yeah.
Because that's what you don't have to do this alone is a thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think a lot of people think that you have to do this alone, or it's not that big of an investment, but it's one of the greatest investments you can do for yourself. I have nieces and nephews, and when they come over, I establish with them what their good carbs, their good protein, their good fats. And I want to make sure that they know that when you come here, these are the foods we're eating. These are the normal foods we're eating. That way they don't come in and they look at it like, oh, you're on a diet? Well, you can't have hot Cheetos. You can't have this. Like, no, I can't. I can't have this. I'm just choosing to have a little bit amount. And it's not a diet. It's just a lifestyle change. But because we've normalized it, it's a diet, right? We have to kind of complain about it or be a little bit resistant about it or be unhappy about it. But it's just like, it's a luxury to be able to choose what you can and can't eat and how much to eat and what you can't eat. And it's okay to be hungry.
Yeah.
So that was 5 different topics there, but it's just, but it just shows that it's constantly evolving and changing, and everyone is so different, and it's all perspective.
Yeah.
Like, and having someone that can be in your corner, because that's what you've always been. You've always been in my corner when it came to my nutrition, and it's just evolved to this very beautiful relationship that we have that just blossomed into being besties.
You hired me as your nutrition.
Yeah, I paid her a monthly fee to be my best friend.
And then we became best friends. But circling back to something that you said, it was just on the top of my mind too. I'll come back to me. But what was it?
Kids, hot Cheetos, dieting.
It was something before that.
Oh,
Okay. So I remember you said something that something that I do specifically is I teach people about nutrition. I don't necessarily just say, hey, eat
do this, do that.
Eat this amount of calories, or eat this amount of carbs, proteins, and fats, or give you a template. I do teach people. And one of my biggest goals is I want to teach you to the point where you are so confident that you can walk away, even though that's a really poor business model, because you want people to be I don't want them to be dependent on me,
right?
But I want to get them to a place where they are like, yeah, I have this. I know you've taught me everything. I can't tell you how many of my clients I have started from scratch all the way to they are now coaching their own clients, or they have their own business, or they felt so confident that they wanted to start doing this themselves. They
helping friends or family.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I probably have lost count, but yeah. And that's just because I said this to you the other day, is you can give a man a fish and he'll eat for 2 days. But if you teach a man to fish, he'll eat for a lifetime.
Yes.
And so it's yes, I can tell you
that was a light bulb moment for me.
Yeah. And you might get by for just a couple of days, but then you're still well, what am I supposed to do for this?
Right.
What am I supposed to do for that? How am I supposed to navigate this? But if I'm helping you learn all of those different things, strategize, understand that nutrition is flexible. You can enjoy a cookie, or you can enjoy those hot Cheeto fries, or you can enjoy Sour Patch Kids, or whatever it may be that you have deemed off limits or not healthy because of certain standards. If I can teach you how to do all of that, enjoy those different foods, navigate a number of different events, whether it's holidays or travel or
vacation,
big events, you're moving, something really traumatic happened in your life. If I can help you through those things, I have given you all the tools to have a healthy lifestyle.
Period.
Yeah, period. You've got it. You can handle almost anything. Right. And that's just, it all starts with the basics, and then just working with somebody who's had some experience, who's worked with a number of different people to kind of navigate you through that.
Right.
It's not about perfection, it's about consistency. Yes. And that's what I really stress and hope to really portray when I'm working with individuals, that once we let go of that perfection and we just embrace being
ourselves. Being ourselves and consistent. It's a form of self-respect is how I see it too. You're putting yourself first. You're choosing yourself first. Because if you can't take care of yourself, how can you take care of others?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm not going to depend on someone that can't even take care of themselves. I'm not going to inconvenience you by me asking you for help. Like I want to make sure that, are you capable of taking care of yourself? Because if you can't, how am I supposed to lean on you?
Mm-hmm.
And there's something you had brought up about different things in life that come up is when people quit.
Oh yeah.
They cancel right then and there. I can't deal with this right now because X, Y, and
I'm
Z.
moving.
I'm moving,
I can't
or
deal with it. It's
going
the
on vacation,
holidays.
holidays or something. And it's like, dude, that's the time to fucking strap in. Like
Yeah.
this is a time where you can buckle in, change that mindset, change that approach. You are going to get some comments from people, but this is where you're in the driver's seat. You have control on how you're going to navigate this. I crave pizza here and there. We'll order a pizza. I'll have one or two. That's it. But I make sure before my day is over, did I meet my protein intake? Did I meet my fiber intake? Did I meet my hydration? So I can at least allow myself to enjoy that pizza. Where if I didn't, then my mindset would be a little bit more different on how I'm going to enjoy this pizza.
Yeah.
Right. But also I have been in situations where I am traveling and I can't access certain places. So now I have to adjust. Yes, it's not going to be it's not going to taste very good. It's not going to be warm or whatever, but I'm going to grab boiled eggs from the airport. I'm going to grab a banana. I'm going to grab some oatmeal. I at least know that those things are going to like lock me in until I get to a place where I can't get those things.
Yeah.
Does it sound fun? No. Do I want to do that? No. But I know that I'm giving myself that, and I'm in the driver's seat and some self-respect, and then all my hard work will pay off if I make that one little small choice.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I truly believe that if you can manage your nutrition through the most hardest parts in life,
Okay. Okay, we are good. What did we leave off of? Do you remember?
should have looked, but we were talking about going through like hard
Hard
seasons
times.
of life.
Yeah.
To be able to do your work on your nutrition or stay engaged with your nutrition. I should say that stay engaged. You don't necessarily need to level up. You don't necessarily need to be working on a new skill of nutrition, but just staying engaged through those really hard times. Then it essentially just becomes a part of who you are. And then that's where that nutrition aspect is now part of your lifestyle, that you find a way to still make it work even during the most hardest times or the times where you don't have the most availability for things like on vacation. Yes, you might not want to enjoy, like you said, the hard-boiled eggs, yogurt, the airport foods that don't necessarily aren't as high calorie or really
Enjoyable.
tasty.
Yeah.
But in that, what I tell my clients and what I tell people is that there is so much good food around us all the time. And instead of just settling for that one thing that looked really good, I encourage you to be choosy and pick the things that are really meaningful. Yeah. So like grabbing what do they have at airports? A croissant.
Oh yeah, those egg sandwiches, like Starbucks, they have those egg sandwiches, or they'll have those protein boxes, or
No,
something.
I'm even talking like something indulgent, like a croissant.
Cookie, yeah.
A cookie that isn't necessarily like amazing
brownie,
at the airport, but if you just like hold off and you go to wherever your destination is and you go to like a local bakery that has that's like specializes in that, it's
More of a
going to
treat.
be more of a treat and more meaningful, and that is going to satisfy that thing way more than that thing that you just grabbed at the airport because you passed by and
Filler.
it kind of looked good.
Yeah.
You know, my biggest even at home or like if you're not like going anywhere, say you go to a holiday or you go to an office party and somebody brings those sugar cookies with that like frosting.
Oh,
From I don't necessarily like those,
Yeah,
but
those
I'm
are
just
good.
like, those are just so standard. You see them everywhere.
Yeah.
I would rather wait until somebody brings homemade cookies that they put blood, sweat, and tears
Put their foot in it. I'm
Yeah,
kidding.
they put their foot in it. And
Not literally. Well, who knows?
figuratively. That's hopefully not, but yeah, I would rather wait for that because that is a cookie that actually like would be more meaningful. It would satisfy that craving, that need versus that one thing. And so I think it's that this whole talk circles back to kind of like what you were talking about to your nephews and nieces about being on a diet and what that actually means. Like, it's like, no, you're not on a diet. You're just aware of what you're eating and you're being very strategic on how you enjoy things. Like you can enjoy a pizza. You can enjoy some Cheeto hot fries. You can enjoy a cookie. It's not that you do it all at once and you don't do it in maybe super large portions, but you're enjoying those little things in a very balanced way.
Yeah.
And that's something that I really stress with almost everyone that I work with. Like, this is kind of that relationship with food that everybody truly wants.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. This was great.
Yeah.
Is there anything else? I mean, this can be an ongoing conversation because I think it's such a complex but so simple conversation. But I think it's so complex because everyone's so different, and that's something I want to like emphasize is like if you are following an influencer or someone that truly doesn't have a very diverse background in who they work with and just who they work with, because I feel like that's where you gain so much knowledge is the people that you serve. Um,
Yeah, like what you said, nutrition is very complex, has many layers. It's an onion. And it's
so
like,
many.
so many layers. Like, so we could talk about it for days, talk about different things, but really it's just the main principle of nutrition is focusing on the basics and doing the basics all the time,
Yeah.
as often as you can. And that if you do decide to work with somebody that specializes in nutrition, seek somebody that does have a degree.
Yeah. Especially on a medication like GLP-1.
Yeah, so especially that, don't just follow someone because they look good on Instagram or TikTok, or they have reached certain results doing something. More than likely they have worked with somebody,
right,
and now they're just trying to like do that themselves and maybe market it off of that. But yeah, just because I'm just gonna kick myself, just because somebody has abs doesn't necessarily make them reputable.
Yeah.
And I'm saying that because of our conversation last week. But yeah, so yeah, I think that was a really good maybe insight into the importance of nutrition.
Yeah. Kind of dissecting a little bit what to look for, understand.
Yeah, kind of what the important parts of nutrition is. And yeah, so I think that's all. That's all you got.
That's all I got. So working against gravity. Oh, and the other thing I wanted to touch on was you work with a team of other people too.
Yeah.
So it's not just you figuring the stuff on your own. You guys are a unit. You guys all kind of conversate with each other. I've actually sat in the corner while you did your team meeting, and you guys will talk about maybe a client that hey, I'm working with this person. This is what we're dealing with. This is what we've done. This is a panel work that we've had done or whatever. Like, can I get some input from you? Can I get some input from you? Like, how can we approach this? Like, you're not doing this alone. You have a whole team that you guys all kind of bounce ideas with, give insights and whatnot. And I think that is such a cool environment to be in, as with someone that works with so many different people, because there's only so much you can also absorb and learn and whatnot. And you have someone else on your team that maybe has worked with someone like that. I'm like, well, how'd you approach that? Like, what insight can you give me?
Yeah.
So you have a team that you're working with. You're not doing this alone, where a lot of people, they're figuring it out themselves too. Or now we have Chat GPT, or we have Gemini, we have AI, which can be a great tool, but this is where working with the real person that can look at things much more detailed and understand you a little bit more, can navigate you, because it's a big thing with nutrition is you need a navigator so you can do this successfully in a safe way.
I agree. And just briefly on like the AI nutrition, what the responses you get is as a result of the prompt you give them. So the certain questions that you give them, how much details that you include, will then determine what it spits out. So if you didn't give it enough information or the right information or the right context, because details matter. Not you can't just say, well, I'm
this tall and I want to lose this much weight. What do I need to eat? What do I need to do? It's like, well, what do you do on a daily? What's your hydration? What's your protein intake? If you don't know all these things, then how would you know where to
and so
navigate
the
from?
point being is that yes, it can provide some good information, but it's not necessarily like I would say it's the best information. There are limitations to what is going to come back. So that real life person, whether they're behind a computer screen, because I do work remotely and I work with a lot of people just in more message based systems, like that real person, can really think much better than a
No.
robot. Yes, the robot can pull certain research or can pull certain equations really, really fast, like a calculator.
Mhm.
You know, like they can do the math really quickly for
Yeah.
you to save you a little bit of brain space. But you still need somebody to input the right
Yeah.
calculation for actually that calculator to
Yeah,
work.
just having that voice really
True.
is
Yeah.
is a big influence. I enjoy our check-ins. Like every week I look forward to it because it also does set the tone on how I'm going to tackle the next week or what I need to focus. What's our game plan? Like how are we strategizing? And also just kind of getting that encouragement that, yes, we are seeing some numbers go down, but I really want to focus on this on you. Like I'd like to see this from you. Like I feel like you're listening with intention, you're giving insight with intention because you care.
Oh yeah.
I know you can't get that with a robot. I mean, I'm sure you
No.
can, but like,
Sure that
be
robot
real.
might appear that way, but yeah, a real person does truly care,
Yeah.
and a real person is also going to give you the information that you need, is
Mhm.
going to tell you what you might not want to hear, but it's
Mhm.
also they're also going to be your biggest cheerleader.
Yes. Yeah.
And they're going to help you see what you might not be able to see yourself.
Right.
And so that is what I do a lot for you. And that's why I have a coach as well, is because I need somebody to see what I don't see myself. We
Right.
all have blind spots.
We all
and so
do. Yeah.
that coach is there to help me see what I can't see, push me in different directions, make sure we're also not moving past the wins that are
Right.
occurring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's all I got for today. I think that was pretty good. I
Yeah.
love this as like I said, I could talk about this all day, but I just wanted to at least put this out there.
Yeah, for
There's some
sure.
people that are in it, for the long run, and there's some people that don't know where to start or whatever. Like wherever this fucking sticks, like I know that it's going to be received in ears that want to listen to it. And this is authentically this is how real it's going to get,
Yeah. This
So
is what breaking through the bullshit.
yes,
to look
breaking through the
like.
bullshit. I didn't do BS because sensitivity issues.
Oh yeah.
So it's breaking through the BS, but whatever. All right. Well, thanks, buddy, for coming over here. You had let me hang it.
Yeah.
Oh, I can see. All right, that's it.
Bye.
Deuces. That was great.